Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Nike Mamba Fury. So this shoe is going for $100 and of course this is Kobe's budget line of shoes. So if you guys want to get it, I'll leave a link in the description box, but let's get it started right off with the traction. So this is more of an outdoor review. I didn't play indoors at all, which sucks because I miss playing indoors very much, but there's really nothing open right now. Everything is closed because of the quarantine, and I hope all of you guys are staying safe. I really didn't think that it would be an issue ever as far as the performance or the traction on an outdoor court, right? You would think that on that type of surface, most shoes or all shoes would be good. But you know, I've been playing a lot outdoors and I've been testing a lot of shoes, and there are some shoes that don't have good grip. I do have experience with the Mamba Focus, which, you know, I played indoors with that shoe, and it was pretty damn bad. The traction was not good at all. And as far as the performance goes on the outdoor court for the Mamba Fury, it wasn't very good. So like for the most part, if you're just, you know, playing, the grip was good. You know, I really wasn't sliding out or anything, but if I was doing like a really hard lateral movement, it would slide out a good amount. And you know, I almost injured myself. It was kind of dangerous, so just be careful on that, like really hard lateral movements. But for the most part, it was okay. And I feel like outdoor performance kind of translates into indoor performance because, you know, I do have experience with the Mamba Focus, which uses the exact same outsole, and that shoe was horrendous for me. It had a horrible stop. It really didn't even pick up dust because it didn't matter. You never really had a good bite. So from that, the outsole really wasn't that good. And you know, like I thought this outsole was gonna be durable because the rubber is so hard, but it doesn't seem that durable. You know, like here where the ball of my foot is, that's a high wear area, and also in the heel. And I have some ripping off. Some of these like rubber scales, you know, it's like a snake skin pattern. Like it's ripping off, and there's a good amount of fraying here where the high wear area is. But I feel like that's like normal wear and tear. You know, if you're just playing on an outdoor court, that's just what happens. Like it's not horrendous, but it's definitely worse than I thought it'd be, you know? And for the heel to toe transition, it was overall very smooth. You know, there's a nice curved shape here in the heel as well as in the forefoot, and you have a good amount of forefoot flex. It is a little bit stiffer than, like, you know, the KD Trade 5.8, but you know, it's not that bad. Moving on to the cushion was absolutely horrendous. The only good thing about this cushioning setup is that it's low to the ground. You know, so good court feel. That's it. Impact protection was so bad. Like my feet hurt, and I was playing on an outdoor court, so obviously it was a lot worse than, you know, if I was playing on the indoor court. But still, impact protection not good. Hard impacts, you know, light impacts, you know, just like kind of walking around, jogging around, it still didn't feel very good. I mean, they're basically using a very stiff pylon. I'm guessing this is a bottom loaded zoom unit, but like I didn't really feel the forefoot zoom unit at all. There is a little bump though. You know, it feels like a little speed bumps in there where the zoom unit is, like in the forefoot. And that didn't feel too nice personally. I didn't like how it felt. And also, it kind of felt like my foot was like this. Normally in shoes, you know, there's a little bit of an offset so that your heel is like higher than your forefoot, right? And there's some instances where it's just flat. But to me, because of that bump, it felt like it was like this. And personally, I didn't like that feeling either. So, you know, forefoot zoom unit, not very nice. The entire cushioning setup, not very nice at all. It was very bad. So there's the cushioning there. Moving on to the materials, they're okay. This shoe has a textile material, and for the most part, you know, it conforms to your foot pretty well. And this material is broken in, but then like if you press it, it just kind of like stays in place. You know, it's not as soft as like a full-on Flyknit or, you know, full-on Prime Knit, but it's definitely supportive. There's absolutely no stretch to the material, so that's good. And here in the toe box here, you have a little bit of fuse on the medial side. Going into the midfoot and back of the shoe, they're using a mesh material. And here in the heel counter, you have a very cheap synthetic suede, and also this like white, I don't know what this is. It's kind of like a pull tab, but not really, because you have a heel tab which goes up a lot. So this kind of doesn't really do anything functionally, but you know, I guess it kind of looks cool, right? The bottom of the tongue is made up of a very well ventilated mesh. On top of the tongue, you have a very cheap feeling suede, and this tongue has absolutely no padding. Besides, I guess here in the middle of the tongue, which feels kind of nice, but like You know, everything else is super thin. So I mean, if you're looking for a very minimal type of upper, then you know that's what you get from here. But yeah, I like to have my tongue a little bit more padded, you know what I'm saying? And then the ankle area, I mean, there's very minimal padding here as well. And also the tongue is a half booty tongue. I mean, as far as the materials go, it is thin and minimal, I'll give it that. And I guess for $100, you can't really complain. But you know, it wasn't super nice. Alright, moving on to the fit. I went true to size and the run's a little long, but it's super freaking narrow. And I got needles and my foot fell asleep multiple times while I was playing this. And I broke it in a little bit, but like I said, this material doesn't really stretch out all too much. Like, of course, I feel like it'll stretch out a little bit more. But you know, comparing it to like, you know, the KT5 and the KT Splash 2, it doesn't really stretch out as much. It's not as soft as those. So like if the fit is really tight for you at first, it's probably gonna stay pretty damn tight. So if you have a very narrow and skinny foot, I would suggest going down half a size if you want it to be really snug, because there, like I said, there is a little bit of length. If you have a normal size foot, I would suggest going true to size, but just watch out for the width. And if you have a wide foot, just stay away from the shoe. The shoe is super narrow and very tight in the toe box area as well. And it just like stays narrow here into the midfoot. Like, it was super tight where the first two eyelets were for me. And I really couldn't tighten the laces here at all. I just tightened here like on top of the shoe. I like to have a very snug fit, but it was just a little too narrow and a little too tight for me. So there's the fit. As far as the support and lockdown goes, I had no issues. You know, you have this swoosh and I guess this rubber part here in the forefoot. And in the heel, you have the phylon coming up as well as an internal TPU heel counter. So I had no issues with lateral containment. As far as the lateral stability goes, it was also very good. You have a very sharp outrigger and that kept me stable. So support and lockdown, I had no issues. I didn't have any issues with heel slippage or anything either. Alright, as far as the weight goes, this shoe is pretty light. It feels very light on foot as well, and the material is super minimal. So yeah, 10.65 ounces, but it's more of that cheap light feeling. Like, most cheap shoes are very light because of the lack of tech, and that's exactly what you feel in this shoe. Alright, moving on to the ventilation. Ventilation was okay. You don't really have any ventilation anywhere in the shoe. Like here in the toe box, there's no ventilation, right? But the only place is, I guess, here in the tongue, like in the midfoot, but that's about it. So overall, the shoe was pretty hot. I wouldn't say super hot because the material is thin, but you know, there really was no airflow through the shoe besides here in the tongue. One thing I do like about the shoe is that there is a little bit of an outsole curvature. So you can see there is a little bit of a curve here, not as prominent as like the Kyrie 2s or the Kyrie 3s, but there is a nice little curve, and the rubber extends here into the medial side, so you have a little bit more grip when you're doing these types of movements, which I did like. As far as the aesthetics go, I really like it. I love the placement of the swoosh. It kind of replaces the midsole. That's an aesthetic that I really like, and I also like the details on the shoe. Even though it's $100, I feel like they did a good job of like putting a lot of snake features into the shoe, right? Like, if you look at the material, you know, it looks like a snake skin. The swoosh, and I guess this part here in the midfoot looks like snake skin. This rubber part looks like snake skin. The outsole has snake skin. This rubber thing here, this pull tab thing has snake skin. You know, the little details are pretty cool. Personally, I feel like the Mamba Focus looked a little bit better, but this shoe is definitely a good looking shoe in my opinion. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, $100, don't get it. No. Performance was not good for me personally. I didn't like it at all. The cushioning was too much, as far as like, it was too little. You know, I had too much hurt in my foot, you know what I'm saying? The traction wasn't very good. The materials were you know, like, and also if you spend $10 more, you can get the PG4s, $10 more, you can get the KT5 low, $20 less, or $15 less, you can get the KT Splash 2. So for the $100 price point, even though that's budget, and of course from Nike you expect these types of materials and this type of tech, there are better options, and the performance personally for me wasn't very good. So yeah, that about wraps it up for this review. If you guys do want to get it, I would suggest purely getting it for aesthetic reasons. I wouldn't suggest getting for basketball. Then I would leave a link in the description box below. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.